Dear brothers, it's about quality, not quantity.
So guys, it should be your conversation where you flow your presence enough for a woman to want to be around you, not how much money you spend.
Dear sisters, it's about knowing your value.
My sisters out there, don't be afraid to scare a guy off just because you have standards.
Dear brothers, dear sisters, it's time to come together.
Hey, salute my classy brothers and my classy sisters. Welcome to another edition of DBDS Live. I am your host, Mel Money, and I'm here with my brother, the articulate, my DBDS brother, Carl. How you feeling today, my man?
I am awesome. Been a wonderful week. No complaints. Weather's nice. You know, I'm ready for this fall to kick in, man. It's my favorite time of the year, the fall. I love it. Football's back. So we do this thing on the Saturdays and the Sundays. I'm just enjoying life right now.
Okay, good to know, man. And we don't want to ruffle any feathers out there, but who is your favorite football team? Are you let me guess. You're a Dallas Cowboy fan, right?
I will never root for the Cowgirls.
Oh, shots fired. So if anyone out there that's a Dallas Cowboy fan, don't leave the group because of that, Oh man, listen, we have an exciting show for you today, man. Today, show I'm really excited because it is related to teamwork. But before we mention what the show is about, listen, my brother Carl mentioned that nice weather, right? Well, guess what? We currently have something nice for you. And that is a $50 reward, as well as a signed copy of Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, Listen Up, which is available right now from yours truly. And it's pretty simple to get this reward. All you have to do is invite people into our group, because listen, we want to expand this positive network. We want more positive people to provide their insight and share their experiences related to relationships and what ways we can help the next individual to avoid some of the choices we made that didn't turn out really good. And if you're in a successful relationship, share that within a group, how to get into that happy relationship. So just to give you a quick breakdown, listen, if you invite 20 people into the group, that's 1 entry. 40 people into the group, that's 2 entries. 60, 3 entries. You'll invite 80 people into the group, that's 4 entries. And lastly, if you invite 100 people into the group, that's 5 entries. So listen, the contest started last week, and you still have plenty of time, because we're going to continue this contest till the end of September, and we will announce the winner right here on DBDS Live on our Sunday, October 3rd show. All right. Also, within the announcement section of our DBDS group, there's other challenging incentives that you could take advantage of that would sharpen up your personal development skills. So please check it out. And if you haven't done so, make sure you go to dearbrothersdearsisters.com. Right now, there is an ebook available, my second book, called The Road to a Healthy and Monogamous Relationship, and also other personal tools you could take advantage of. Carl, what else you want to add to the site, my brother?
Like I said, go to the site if you're interested in being in a healthy relationship, or even making your relationship that you're in better. Come to the site. There is so much valuable information put out there. People who have been possibly in your shoes, or people who have gone through things you may have gone through. Oh,
my brother Carl froze, but as he stated, we're having technical issues. Don't worry. He's going to come back through. But yes, come to the site, the dearbrothersdearsisters.com. That's the official site dedicated to healthy and monogamous relationships. And that's what it's all about. Okay. Also, just to let you guys know, we have an amazing show. So today we're going to talk about the topic is how to keep your marriage together, right? We're going to talk to an amazing couple that is amplifying what a positive relationship is about, and how it is that you can have great communication skills, how to control your emotions and don't allow your emotions to control you, and everything else. That's what we're going to dissect today. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and bring our guest into the studio while my brother just black out. No worry. Carl's going to come back. Time to bring the guest into the studio. So coming into the studio, I won't even say guest, I want to say guests with an S at the end, is man, Morpheus and his queen Natima. Welcome to DBDS Live.
Thank you. What's up, Money Mel? Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Good evening to everyone.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you both on. So not only that, listen, we have a celebrity on the show. My sister Natima, she was in the movie Fresh. I'm sure my audience remember Fresh, and that movie came out in 1994 about the harsh realities of life in the city. So thank you for coming on. First, I'll start with you, Natima.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
Absolutely. Well, first off, again, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this platform and what you're doing. It is really dope. We, of course, checked it out and are so glad to be a part of this. We don't really align ourselves with certain things that we can't get with if it doesn't have, positivity attached. And so we definitely saw the opportunity to jump on here. But as you said, I am Natima Cherie, affectionately known on social media as the Book Enthusiast. I am an author of several bestsellers available on Amazon, Pretty Broken, as well as Mascara. I started my journey in Queens, New York. I was born and raised in New York City, in the inner city. So definitely familiar with a lot that went down in the movie Fresh. And that's probably why I was chosen for the film. But really just took a path of education, coming from my family. Many of them did not finish high school, let alone go on to college or advanced degrees in terms of graduate school. So I decided to do that. I wanted to do those things. And in that journey, I fell in love with reading. I fell in love with books and literature and information. And so that's how I became the Book Enthusiast and started to write my own books. And then about a year ago, in the height of COVID, I launched the Diamond Writers, which is a community for women writers to come and share their stories, whether it's stories of struggle, triumph, growth, marriage, divorce, single motherhood, whatever it is that they have to offer the world. I provided a platform for them to tell their stories. And so that's what I'm doing with my life right now, just spreading love and spreading, self-care. That's my number one thing right now, is taking care of self. And then, of course, healthy relationships, not just with yourself, with your spouse, with your children, with friends, things like that. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's simply amazing. Everything that you are doing is such a blessing, and that's what's missing in our culture today. We're not doing enough to help each other, and I think that's absolutely awesome. That what you're doing is a blessing. Is spreading the word out there, spreading that positive outlet. And listen, sister, it's going to continue to soar.
Thank you.
Now, next to the side, first off, Morpheus, happy birthday. Today is my man's birthday. He decided to come onto the DBDS Live show. That is salute. Thank you, my brother. And tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you from, and why you on the show today.
I am King Energy Morpheus, King Energy _ Morpheus on Instagram, on IG. I'm just a articulate black man from the Midwest. You know what I mean? I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You know what I mean? And ended up, I was involved in religion for a long time. Coming up as a kid and everything like that. And about a year or two ago, I ended up kind of embarking on my own journey, which included kind of like a dark soul of the night type of thing, where I had a choice. I was at a crossroads where I could let the circumstances that I was experiencing either destroy me, or I could let them turn me into something, transform me into something even greater than I've ever been. And so I chose the latter. And so from that was came the name Morpheus, and came the whole concept of King Energy, because as a black man, very few of us have resources to fall back on when we go through things like that. We're just have this this expectation that we're supposed to always carry this bravado around, that we're tough and we're this and we're that, and really that gets fed to us by the media. But a lot of times we buy into that ourselves, that we're just supposed to be these emotionless, basically machines that are just good for protection and sex. And so when it comes to the deeper, more, substantive things, and especially emotionally, what I'm saying, we don't have a lot of resources for that. So my whole concept of King Energy was basically to help every black man, especially, to be able to introduce themselves to the king that's in them, that's lying dormant. So that's one of the sayings of King Energy, is to awaken, evolve, and transform. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm trying to put out there into the universe by doing things like this. You mentioned it was my birthday. You know, one of the things that I've heard, you know, Jim Rohn. I like motivational speakers. You know, Jim Rohn and Les Brown. You know,
yes.
When you do something, you know what I mean, that you would do for free, then that's your purpose. You know what I mean? And I would not rather be any place in the world but to be doing this, because this is what, you know, speaking, being able to, you know, preach, speak, talk, conversate, do anything that's being able to put out, you know, positivity into the atmosphere, especially directed toward my people, is exactly what I'd be wanting. This is the best birthday gift.
Listen, I don't start dropping bombs until during the
Right. Get a show
got an early bomb.
Right.
we are filling you out there. So I'm gonna just pull up a few comments. Oh, and by the way, everyone, Carl is safe. His internet went down, so I'm sure that he's okay. He'll be up and running. Don't worry about that. But the first comment I have here is from my sister Mika. Shout out to the beautiful Mika. She said, "Hey y'all."
Hey.
Sister Anita. Okay, well, hello, gentlemen, and I'll add lady up there. Next one up here, she stated to both of y'all, Mika, that's dope.
Appreciate
That's
it,
the way you
sis.
guys. Yes. And she said to Morpheus, you are speaking really good, sir. Oh, we love it. We love it, man.
Yeah.
So I think this today's topic is such an amazing discussion that needs to be talked about, because I feel like marriage, you know, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, in fact, it's a blessing when you're with the right person as well as the right mindset, right? But I feel like today I don't believe people understand the true meaning of marriage in this, you know, instant gratification society, as well as we all know across the spectrum, we have the highest percentage when it comes to divorce.
Yeah.
And we also have the highest percentage of our people who are less married. And I believe like there's a lot of external factors that plays a part in it, you know, to keep us apart than rather keep us together.
Yeah.
So before we dive into this topic, we do have a DBDS Anonymous section where people post their thoughts, their issues, and they look for us for some guidance. So I'm going to go ahead and read the letter. So this is how it reads. DBDS letter. I need some advice because I may lose my mind. I am newly married, July 23rd, 2021. My husband has this female friend who is flirty and oversteps boundaries. I have brought this up to him and how uncomfortable I am with it. He has told me she is just a friend and that's just how she is. I have nothing to worry about. Well, I found messages from his ex accusing him of cheating on her with the same female I am having issues with.
Wow.
I confronted my husband and he admitted it as well. This raised a big red flag for me, and I told him how I felt, and he said I had nothing to worry about. But in the last 4 months, our intimacy has nearly diminished. He's not as affectionate. He is always on his phone. It takes him 90 minutes to 2 hours to get home from work, and he only lives 20 minutes away. I've asked him what's wrong, and he says nothing. I asked what I can change to make him happier, and he says nothing. Do I have anything to be worried about? Am I overthinking this? To add this woman that in the past, she also looked at our wedding photos and she said he is sexy as hell. Okay, that's the end of the letter. I'm gonna bring my brother Carl back into it, brother. Before we get into the to some comments right here. Everything okay, my man?
I'm using my phone right now. Yeah, it's an outage in the area, so
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
so I won't be able to see some of the stuff.
Okay. Well, as long as you're safe, that's all that matters, brother. You know.
Exactly.
All right. So first off, I want to thank this sister for a letter because we do understand that it takes courage to reach out, and we greatly appreciate you. However, all I ask of you is just to be open-minded because we are not going to hold back our opinions. We're going to give you our thorough analysis to guide you in the right direction. All right.
Definitely.
So first, I'm coming to my sister Natima.
Mhm.
How can we help this sister out? What advice you have for her?
Yeah. So wow. For her to literally, she's still in the first 90 days of her marriage. Like the first 90 days, and she already feels like she's losing her mind. My immediate issue with that is your peace has literally been disrupted in less than 90 days with someone who's supposed to be your safe place. As far as the friend that your husband has, I'm a big believer that once you are married, those female friends that were close are even further because you're married now. I'm not saying that my husband has to give up his female friends. No, I would never want to sever healthy relationships that don't threaten the marriage. But if there is a young lady in your husband's life that he has not set and enforced boundaries with, then that is showing up a problem. I feel like sometimes when we're in love and we desire to be married, we rationalize red flags because I don't know the whole situation. I don't know the whole story, but I can't help but wonder if there were signs before the I do's. Because this woman didn't just come out of nowhere. She had to have been around. If the ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, I think, or the previous relationship also had an issue with her.
Okay.
So if there was an issue with her before, that means that there's behaviors that he's allowed to go on to both his ex and now you. My biggest concern, sis, is respect. He does not respect you enough to say, let me hear you out why this is a concern for you, because this isn't new to him. He heard this in his last relationship, that she doesn't respect boundaries, that she's flirtatious. And I'm just going to keep it all the way real. I mean, I know that this is a professional platform, or, you know what I'm saying, a decent platform, but anybody comments under his photo about him being anything other than a king and something respectful, oh, I'm calling sister out on the post. It's a whole problem.
It's a problem for everybody, including me.
And then I'm pulling it up. Listen, and then I'm pulling it up on him, but I would bring it to him. I think you did right by addressing the fact that it's a concern for you. But again, it's up to him to set those boundaries and enforce them. It's okay to maintain friendships, but anything that looks like more than friendship and could potentially threaten the relationship, it has to go. And you have to love yourself enough to say, listen, it's annulment is an option here. Because you cannot continue a year from now and this still be an issue, especially when he's admitted that he's crossed the line with her in the past. What is going to keep him from doing that again if he's not coming home, from work at a decent time? Now, listen, my husband goes to the gym, he goes to the grocery store after work. So I'm not keeping tabs on him. Oh, you better come in here. If you get off at 5 and you 20 minutes away, I better see you by 5:22 in the driveway. It's not like that. But respectfully, if he has plans after work, he'll say, hey, babe, I'm going to do this and that after work. Don't worry about me. And the same goes for me. But sister, I really don't want you to sacrifice your peace for this relationship. I need you to talk to him again. If he's willing, have another conversation with him and let him know this bothers you and this is not something you're going to accept. And it's not about you giving him ultimatums, choose me or her, but it's simply saying, do you respect what we're building? Because you are still building. You've been married for 40 something days, 50 days. Like it hasn't even been a full, 3 months yet. Word. So he needs to define, do I respect you? Because I'm not willing to let nothing disrupt this union here. Nothing. No friendships, no relationships, no shopping habit, no social media. There's nothing that is more important to me than this right here. And so clearly that's the message he's giving you.
Okay. Very well said. Before I come to my brother Morpheus, I'm going to pull up a comment. I know you can't see the comments, Carl, so I'm going to go ahead and read them. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. So the first comment's from Keisha. She said, was this happening before you decided to marry him? So you have everything to worry about. She's not going to leave him alone. He's not going to leave her alone. He is sleeping with her before you. He will continue. Either let him cheat in peace, holy, or leave. That was the first comment. Yeah, that was a lot.
But she's
Second,
right. He was a problem before. Yeah.
second one from Natasha. Leave him. Let him continue on his log ride home. Okay. Another one from Anita. Boundaries are everything.
Agreed.
Okay. I'll take this one more comment before I go to other comments from James. It's crazy how all the women jump to the conclusion that he's cheating with her, shaking my head. The wife knew of this friend and how they communicated before the marriage. So do need to check the situation. Absolutely. But the amount of women on this post yelling the woman to end her marriage with no proof of cheating, only assumption tells a big part on why women leaves their marriage so quickly over dumb stuff. It seems to me y'all got insecurity issues and need to get some help. Ooh, okay, James. Different perspective.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm good. That's what we all about here.
Yeah.
I'm coming to my brother Morpheus. What is your point of view on this? How can we help the sister?
My thing is like James's comment threw me off a little bit because in this, when we talk about this, we have to understand, and I always had this conversation with my queen about it doesn't sound great, but we have to understand going into certain situations that not all men are created equal and not all women are created equal. Some men are for marrying, some men are not. Amen. Some women are for marrying, some women are not.
Amen.
And so what the problem with, especially with a lot of women, is that they end up putting a male in a man's place. You know what I'm saying? So if you are a male, and you know what I'm saying, it's not a insult. You know what I'm saying? Because it just has to do with the amount of experience that you have. It has to do with, you know, how principled you are. It has to do with, you know what I'm saying, just your character as a person that makes you a man. Every male has the potential to be that. You know what I mean? But if you like what's my boy TD Jake say, you know, well, it's probably not just him, but there's a quote out there that says that, you know, a blessing given too early isn't a blessing at all. You know what I'm saying? And so if you take somebody that is, you know, not fully developed yet and put something as important as marriage in their lap prematurely, then it's going to probably end badly. They're not ready for that responsibility. Right. And the readiness comes up here and in here. So when you talk about, you know, the proof and all that, you don't need proof. You know what I mean? Because you're supposed to go into a marriage and into a relationship with a certain mindset as a man off jump. Right. You know what I mean? Like me and my woman right now, you know, it took me all of 4 hours to understand who she was. You know what I mean? And I honestly didn't treat everybody like I treat her. You know what I mean? Because I recognize my own value as a man. So when you get me in a relationship, you're going to get a partner. You're going to get a provider. You're going to get somebody that's going to bring something to the table mentally, spiritually. You getting a whole package. So if I'm going to give this to you, you need to be bringing more than just what's underneath your clothes.
Come on.
Woo. You know what I'm saying? And so I take that seriously. You know what I'm saying? So, and we talk about that from, you know what I'm saying, a man's perspective about what a man has to bring, but we don't talk about that with women. You know what I mean? But I know, right. So I know as a man what I am. So when I saw her and it's a match, like, okay, now all the games are aside. Oh, we ain't doing that.
Right. I'm no games.
You with me? You know what I mean? Any friends and all that type. This is who this is. Is that okay with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, like she said, it's not just her that feels that way when she was talking about nothing comes between this. You know what I mean? I feel like that too. That's mutual. She didn't have to have a conversation with me and say, hey, make sure you feel this way, because that ain't gonna work. You can't convince anybody of that. You know what I mean? They have to have that. Y'all have to bring that into the union individually. Right. You know what I mean? That merit for the union. Right. You know what I mean? And if you don't, then you wasting your time. And people, like he was just talking about, ending your marriage and over silly stuff. And that's going along the lines of what me and my queen spoke about before. Earlier today, we were kind of talking about a similar situation. And I was talking about how a lot of times traditionally people want to stick with marriages for the sake of marriage, right? Like God doesn't like divorces and all that type of stuff like that. And y'all really are talking about, you know, the superficial things, you know, because the marriage is not a superficial covenant.
No,
it's a spiritual covenant.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about marriage from a spiritual place, you're talking about really having an understanding and a grip on respect, on value, on, you know, fidelity, on principle. And so regardless of what happens on paper, from a man's side or a woman's perspective, once those things have been violated, then the covenant is broken.
Exactly.
It's already over.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And for a man, a lot of times the biggest thing is respect. You know what I mean? And for a woman, a lot of times it's just your body, your fidelity, your physical fidelity.
Right.
You know what I mean? But a lot of women cheat on their man, you know what I'm saying, or give him the effect of cheating just by their mouth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of men haven't gotten to the point in their maturity yet where they understand that all of you belongs to this woman. If you go down the aisle and you talk to and you get the ring and all of that, that should mean something to you.
Right.
So all the friends and all that gotta go.
Right.
And if he don't understand that,
he's not ready.
It's nothing you can say to make him understand that. He has to learn that and experience that and become that as a man. And then so it's up to you. How long do you want to deal with that? So what's more important to you? Is it the marriage? Is it being married and, you know, the ceremony? You know what I mean? Because if so, then like the young lady said, you know, you let him cheat in silence.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Or invite her over. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do. But if you're talking about wanting something real, if what you really want is a husband and a man in a spiritual sense, that ain't him.
No,
it's not him.
Woo! Well, I mean, very well said. I see a lot what you're stating from your perspective when it comes to that. I mean, they only been married since July, and it's already a lot of issues at hand. I think James wanted to point out, and I see I'm going to pull up more of his comments. He's thinking that there should be other routes taken before you just end things off so quickly. But I'm going to come to Carl, and man, that was just fire what my brother Morpheus was stating. But how can we help the sister out? Do you see what's your perspective on it? What insight do you have?
I think the biggest thing is, you know, first off, I appreciate you sending the letter in, Queen. It's definitely, you know, it's always tough to put your situation out there and you know, wanting an answer, and then willing to accept kind of what you're hearing out there, or you know, or even entertaining what you're hearing to make a right decision. And it's difficult. 90 days in, and you got a man that's doing something. I definitely agree. One of the questions was he doing this previously? Did you know about this? That has to be answered, because if you knew about this, it should have been addressed before you went down the aisle. Too many people are entering into a covenant because they want the marriage and they don't want the work of a marriage. They want the wedding. They don't want the marriage. Let me rephrase that. You know, so if you knew about this previously, the wedding might have looked good, but now your marriage is going south quickly. I agree with Morpheus on the respect factor. He's not respecting you as a man. You know, and I'm a divorcee, so I speak from this side. You know, there's a respect factor when you're in a marriage, when you're in a covenant, and you're supposed to, you know, there's never was a time that my plans changed, that I did not call my ex and tell her, hey, I'm not going to be in at this point in time, or something shifted. That's respect. So for him to show up 90 minutes or 2 hours later, I mean, the writing's on the wall with that. For him to say she's just a friend, it's no big deal. I feel like
that was wrong.
You know, the difficulty, it's one thing if it was and again, sometimes we stay friends without exes. And an ex-girlfriend, whatever it is, you were able to work it out and become friends, but there's nothing else there. But this person wasn't even that. She wasn't a girlfriend. She wasn't an ex-wife. She's a side piece. And so she really should have been slid out. She should have been cut out before the wedding. And even at this point, and if he's not even telling you that, if he's telling you, oh, it's no big deal, it is a big deal, because he doesn't want you to make it a big deal, because he doesn't want you getting upset, and he doesn't want her upset. And truthfully, she's not going nowhere. And you addressing her or saying anything is not going to matter. It's not going to make a big deal because she doesn't care because he's the issue. And she's only going to do what he allows. And he's allowing her to be a thorn in y'all's marriage right now. So you can't pluck the thorn out your marriage that he put there. He's got to pull it out. And he's got to be willing to want to sit down and pull it out and have this conversation and understand what needs to be done. I did, read further comments that James had made on the post. I understood where he's kind of going. I agree. You guys could try to work at it, to try to save the marriage, to go to counseling and try to do things, but he's got to be willing to do that.
Right.
One person can't save a marriage. Right. One person can't fix a marriage. One person can't do it. So if he's not willing to cut her off completely, and be transparent with you, with where he's at, with his phone, with his contact, everything that he has, if he's not willing to be transparent to regain your trust, I hate to say he's not worth the time and effort, but your peace is important and you've got to get that. And Natima talked about it. You got to get your peace back. So my thing is, I would work on yourself. I would have that conversation with him and then begin to work on yourself. And he's going to have to make a decision. Is it worth losing you for a side hustle or for the main partner? Which one does he want? He's going to have to make a choice in his decision making with that. And if he decides to take the side hustle, let him go. Yeah. That would be his loss at this point in time, and it'll be your lesson. You won't have a loss. You'll have an L for a lesson learned, and you know what qualifying questions to ask next time you go down this path.
Man. Whew. Listen, I normally don't drop fire during the lettering of our show, man, but what everyone stated is very insightful. I'm gonna pull up some more comments, man. We even have a touch. This is just skimming the surface. We haven't dived deep into the show, but this letter right here got a lot of people's talking. The next one is from my sister Ville. She said, "You are speaking the whole truth. Another issue I have is if they are this close for this long, why is she not an associate of the both of you? Seems as if she's only close to him." Yeah, I mean, that's very true, Ville. You gotta, in an exclusive relationship or relationship, that person should have already been brought in just to see the character front if it's really that serious. Next comment is from Miyaka. She said communication and accountability is a real thing.
Exactly.
Okay. Next one from James. First cause to action is divorce. No end of friendship or nothing, just straight divorce with no proof of cheating. And y'all wonder why Black women can't stay married. Okay, James. Appreciate your perspective.
James, man.
James, man. He said, James, man. I'm gonna do some follow-up questions. So I'll come to you, Carl. We see perspectives from some of our other members and some others in our group. Do you think there should be different avenues to try, maybe before just head straight into divorce? She just recently got married. I'll come to you first.
You know what? And let's just keep it real. Let's look at our vows that we give, for better or for worse. And I'm gonna stop it right there because a lot of people don't understand what for worse means. See, we go in with a the worst that can happen, he might get sick, she might get sick, everybody lose a job, we might struggle. People don't understand what worse means. Worse is worse. It can get downright dirty in the worst. Now, I will tell somebody this. No matter what the worst is, I'm not telling no one to stay in the worst. If both parties are willing to work at getting out that dirt, out that pit that they're in at the worst, then do it. See, it's always easy when things are going great, for the better. True. Oh yeah, for the better. We all happy. But when we hit that worst, most people don't want to do it. And I do believe divorce gets thrown out a lot faster today. And you hear, there are those that say, well, women have more options. They don't have to rely on a man. I get all of that. That's why 90% of divorces in the African American community are filed by women. Yeah. I mean, and I think a lot of times we push forward with that without understanding it. And I'm going to end it with this part. Like I said again, if there's a point in time when, yes, you have to walk away. There was abuse, there were things like that.
Oh, yes.
But as a man of faith, I have been in my worst a lot of times, and God never walked away from me when I was at my worst.
Okay.
And when we're building a covenant, which should be between me, her, and God, he's not walking away from us when we're at our worst. And I think that's the biggest thing. We have to decide, is that worst really that worst? Is it really there? You know, what do we need to do? But I do believe in some cases divorce does happen. In my case, because the individual I was with was not going to change, was not going to stop their behavior, and I had no choice. If that doesn't stop, then that's a pathway. But I think initially when something happens, we're all hurt, we're upset. These things, we got to think outside the emotional things, because what we don't want to do is make an emotional decision today that will affect us down the road later on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that point of view. I see, I'm being open. I see everyone else's point of view. I see a lot of comments saying cheating, leave them. But I see a few comments based on try other options before jumping right in. So right now I'm going to come to my brother Morpheus. Same question. Do you think, do you see James' point of view? Do you think like, man, this is the NRB wall, just I'm out? Or do you think this is something that could be worked upon? I mean, what is your thoughts on this?
I feel like one of my favorite sayings is energy is a form of matter. It's neither created or destroyed. It's only transferred. So I feel like the way that you start something is the way it's going to finish. You know what I'm saying? So if I go buy a car, you know what I mean, and I drive off the lot and the water pump blows, I'm taking the car back. I'm not going to fix the car or whatever, because obviously, you know what I'm saying? So for me, in this situation, I think people are responding with such, intensity about the leaving thing because it's so early. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yes, because it's so early in the thing. So, like Carl was talking about, being at your worst, and that's true. Like you can be at your worst, but a lot of times it's a difference between like being at your worst, because naturally it's ebbs and flows in life, right? We go through ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? As men, I got married at a young age and everything like that. I went through my ups and downs and made mistakes and everything like that. But a mistake is a mistake, but that's different from something that's self-inflicted. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if it's like, if you're at your worst and you know what I'm saying? You're like, okay, I got diabetes, you know what I mean? Like, and you're sick from your diabetes, but yet you continue to eat, you know what I'm saying, poorly and not exercise or whatever. So yeah, you're at your worst, but you're not doing what you can do to get out of that. And when you're not showing any kinds of, signs of, progress, then that's the issue. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the most valuable currency any of us have in life is our time. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're going to be, that close to somebody and on paper for the rest of your life, you would want to know that. And just little things about, not coming home 3 months into marriage.
I can't wait to get home to you.
It's gonna be hard for work to find me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I'm right here. Like, it's gonna be steamy and it's not. I'm here, so I'm not, you ain't gonna be able to try to find me 3 months into the marriage. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's you know what I'm saying? So we can be honorable, but we don't have to be stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, be honorable, give somebody so in this case, I would just suggest that she work on herself, go the way that's best for you. And then if he follows you, then cool, give him that opportunity. Right. But if he don't, which he probably won't, because he's already not, you know what I'm saying? Then let him do what he does. But don't be a fool. You know what I'm saying? Because that time is precious. And the other thing that I wanted to add to that is just mention the word accountability. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how old this young lady is. I don't know how many times she's been in this kind of relationship. But I also feel like, from a spiritual standpoint, we tend to attract people into our lives that are a reflection of where we are mentally and spiritually. So I would also suggest to her that she, even all this stuff is sidebars about what he's doing and where he's at and how long it takes him to get home. What is it about you that has you in this situation? Because whether it gets better or it improves, and especially if it doesn't, you want to know that and hold yourself accountable for that, so that you can graduate past this for the next time.
Yeah.
Because unless we learn from unless we turn those L's into L's, those losses into lessons, we never graduate to the next level, and we keep living the same experience over and over and over again. So I would suggest that she take her energy and concentrate that into herself and how she got here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then whatever happens from that, go with it. But that would be, you know what I'm saying, my 2 cents, I guess.
Okay, man, very well said. And I'm going to pull up a couple other comments because I think this show, we probably want to get one topic in. No, we're only going to get one topic in, but I'm going to just continue to do our best, man. First, the next comment I have is from my man, Freddie. And this is what he has to say. He stated, any marriage without a spiritual connection will never reach its full potential.
Great comment.
Absolutely. Man, can I get an amen on that?
Freddie said it. That's it.
Okay, Freddie. From my sister Ville, she said marriages aren't lasting because both partners are, I guess, taking accountability and responsibility, especially when disrespect is the ultimate issue. She said, just my opinion. I'm single though. Okay, you know, it's all good. It's all good. Next one from my man Will. This is my only question to you. Why did you marry this man?
Right.
That's all I got for you, because I don't want to say the wrong thing and hurt your feelings with the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I'm just going to do my little mix before we get to our first topic. But from my perspective, sister, listen, your husband in that protective role or position should not allow anyone to disrespect the relationship. Because I feel like the protection has, you know, it's more than just the physicality portion, but it's also non-verbally, such as the flirting or interfering in your relationships. Another thing too, as well, I think you should focus on yourself. You know, right now, this is pretty early. This should be the honeymoon phase in your relationship.
Yes.
And it's just so many obstacles straight ahead. So my thing is focus on yourself. And, you know, like Carl stated, it takes two to make a relationship work. And if he refused to do any counseling or anything else of that nature, then you pretty much have the answer. And it's time to reevaluate your relationship. Okay. So once again, thank you for your letter. And I hope our advice, as well as our DBTS family advice, helps you in the right direction. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get on with the show. All right. And thank you, everyone. Pull up another comment. Still comments coming during this letter. My goodness. Next comment from our Facebook follower. She said, you have to have God first in your marriage.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Let me see where that's from. That's such a dope comment. Oh, shout out to my sister Annetta. Thank you, my sister. Need to have you back on the show. Okay. Now it's time for the show. Okay. So our show is based on how to keep your marriage together. And the first subtopic that we're going to hit on that a lot of couples and marriages fail today is communication and conflict resolutions. You see how my man is on the couch and they just having this calm, collective conversation, whether it's due to an issue or not. So let me go ahead and break this down. So my thing is that marriage, I feel like, should never feel like two opponents fighting to defend themselves. I feel like that will lead to a failed marriage, whereas a healthy marriage are two teammates trying to find ways to work together and love each other. Okay. So first, I'm coming to my sister Natima. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
Gosh, I love this. I love this topic because I remember, you know, I was married once before and we didn't communicate at all. And I made sure that if I was blessed with an opportunity to be married again, you know, I was going to make that the priority, which was communicating. And I read an article a few years ago, communication kills assumption. And I am really good at coming to like just assuming everything and not asking. And so now I think I over ask questions. Like I'm constantly asking questions. Some of the best marriage advice I ever got was a woman from a church I used to attend. And she said, learn to attack the problem and not each other. And you do that by talking. Communication is not easy for everybody. You know, some people are much more introverted and they prefer to hold things in and not talk about them, or they're not going to be the first to bring it up. They're going to wait for you to ask what's wrong. Sometimes they have to ask a few times, what's wrong, what's wrong. But when you are intentional and wanting your relationship to last, you have to come out of that comfort zone, come out of that safe space that you created and talk. You have to say, you have to have those difficult conversations. You have to have those uncomfortable conversations. You have to say things that you hope doesn't offend or doesn't, you know, hurt someone's feelings, but it needs to be said. And I think when you're paired with the right person, you know, they're not going to be quick to give or take offense. They are going to be open to your comments. They're going to be open to what it is that you want to talk about. This is literally my best friend. We talk about everything in our relationship. And I'm not saying everything and then there are some exclusions. No, we talk about everything. And he's created such a safe space for me to be able to share if I'm having a good day, a bad day, an off day, if I'm feeling insecure. And insecurity, just a quick plug for the ladies, insecurity doesn't mean another woman threatens you or makes you feel threatened. Insecurity could just be, I am not feeling at my best today. And I don't feel like I have it to be mom, wife, you know, employee, boss. So it's not always tied to an external woman making you feel insecure. Sometimes you just don't feel secure. That word insecure means I don't feel secure in whatever space that's in. Go to your spouse about that. When I'm feeling at my worst, I'm like, babe, I don't feel good today. I don't feel smart. I don't feel proud. I don't feel confident. I have meetings today that I'm not prepared for. I tell him everything. And so communication is really what's going to set you apart from feeling alone in a marriage. So many people are like, I feel so alone in my marriage. You don't have a partner to talk to. You're supposed to have someone to talk to. I'm supposed to come in and have pillow talk with this man before we lay it down for the night about anything, you know, whether it's work related or business related or just personal. You should be able to talk to your spouse about any and everything. And I definitely do. So I'm not saying what I hope for. I'm speaking for what I have now. And I remember what it was like to not have that and the wife that I was, and then to have that and the wife that I am. So,
okay. I mean, I think right now you just gave like a solution formula to our audience out there, because a lot of people, they just allow things to build up inside of them instead of just, as you just, you know, eloquently stated, you just directly be like, hey, I'm not feeling well today. You know, you have this safe environment. He has a safe environment, and you guys just talk it out. And I always state, like, to me, marriages, I feel free in my marriage. Like a lot of people have this perception that marriage is lockdown. I feel free. When you have the right partner, you should feel free to talk to him about anything underneath the sun, anything, you know? So what you just stated is really true. It's like having a best friend and a lover and a lifetime contract. I always think that, right?
Yeah.
So listen, I'm coming to my brother Morpheus. Communication and conflict resolutions. How important this is in an amazing marriage.
I think it's of course of utmost importance, but I think the thing about communication is that people understand that it's more than just your words. So a lot of times people will have an issue, or they have something that, you know what I'm saying, is not, you know, that they want to change in the marriage or the relationship or whatever, and they don't talk about it. But they don't understand that doesn't mean that you're not communicating. So if the baseline of our relationship and our interaction, our relationship now drops, you're communicating that you're upset about something. So it does neither one of us any justice if you just hold on to that. And then now we go through day one, day two, to a week, to a month, with the baseline of our relationship and the love that we're used to showing each other, and the verbal communication that we're used to having, with now drop down one or two or five levels. That doesn't benefit everybody, because at the end of the day, the problem is still there. And instead of it being nipped in the bud, it's allowed to grow, because as now, whatever that started out from, you know, maybe it was, you didn't call me today after work, you didn't come home, this and that. Now, because he didn't come home, you didn't say anything about it. And then, you know, he's used to you folding the clothes or whatever. You didn't do that. Now he's upset about that. Nobody's saying anything, but there's all this communication going on. And when there's not intention behind anything, it's going to go wild. And that and instead of that problem being resolved and nipped in the bud, it grows, it festers. You know what I'm saying? And it can start out from the smallest thing, but that thing will snowball faster than you can believe. And then it's a big blow up. You know what I mean? And now she's, you know, emotionally, you know what I'm saying, feeling, you know, deprived, and you're sexually deprived, and all of this stuff from just not using your words. So understand what communication is, that it's much bigger than what we say. And even when you don't say anything, you're giving off some kind of signal. 99%, that's like a common fact, like 95 or 99% of communication between humans is nonverbal.
Nonverbal, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So you're communicating that whether you want to or not. And then you know, it's just like, it's important to just not go to bed, you know what I'm saying, angry. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it is, let's talk about it while it's small. It's not always going to be a calm conversation. It's not going to always be a easy conversation, but there should be boundaries. There are certain things that I'm never going to say and never going to do to her, if not because she's my woman, because she's my friend. You know what I'm saying? So there's those boundaries there that, okay, like, so when we do have verbal communication, she's upset. She might have a reason to be upset, or she might not, you know what I'm saying? Which makes me upset, you know what I'm saying? But regardless, even when we have those, you know what I'm saying, uncomfortable conversations, we can always rest assured that it's never going to go to toxicity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we have those boundaries instituted. And then just to really be able to understand that, because, you know, sometimes you have, you know, or you might be in a season where we've had seasons where we've just been bumping heads, but that is not a bad thing, because anytime growth happens, anytime change happens, there's friction, there's discomfort, there's adjustments that need to be made. So as long as it comes to a point and y'all not arguing about the same, I was about to cuss, the same about the same, good, bro. About the same stuff all the time, you know what I'm saying? Having the same conversation over and over again, I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? But if it's like, okay, we about to move, or okay, you know, you starting your business, or I started a new job, or my kids are doing this, and that, and there's things going on, you have to kind of step outside yourself and understand, okay, there's growth happening. We're going to have some dis-ease, so we're going to have some growing pains until we get through this season, and that's okay. But if we continue to stay consistent and talk it out and communicate, use our words instead of letting everything just go awry around us with communication, then we'll get through it. And not only will we get through it, we'll be stronger because of it.
Okay. Woo. Let me try to clear my throat. I'm sure you guys remember this song.
Yes.
Sunny day. Everybody loves me. Tell me, baby, can you stand it? No, okay, let me stop. But you guys remember those days, right? Because every relationship is not perfect. It's always going to be issues, and you have to figure out, like, my wife and I, when we have these uncomfortable discussions that we have to talk about, our solution formula, and I'll share with the group, we state to ourselves, let's pick a time where we can have the conversation. Right. Because with us, it seems like if you communicate right there where the emotional tension is very high, then it may get out of hand. So me and her would just be like, let's just pick a time. And we pick the time, and we just reinforce and redirect, and we use it. What we use is called the water therapy. So a lot of people, when they have these arguments, they know how to pick, hit those negative buttons to make you upset. We figure out ways of how to hit the positive buttons to redirect the conversation to something positive.
That's good.
And that's how we get through. That's our solution formula. So I'm just sharing it out to the world. That's another solution formula you could take advantage of.
That's
Carl, before we come to you, I got your mother. She got a comment. All right, here she goes. Mama Carl, man. She said, "You have to know your partner. I do not attack my husband because he will not respond well. So I do the quiet and let us both calm down. He then quietly comes to me and says, 'Let's talk.' Okay. We talk it out and all is well. It is called understanding and respect. Again, know your partner. We have 53 years under our belt and we still have fun together with a great deal of God guidance and love."
Yes.
Man, woo. Man, Carl, we have to get her on the show, man. Mother and son of the show. She be dropping some. Woo. I'm coming to you, Carl. What is your thoughts behind communication and conflict resolutions?
I'm gonna go backwards.
Okay.
I agree everything that Morpheus and Natima said, and some of the comments we've had. But if you don't know how to resolve a conflict, you will never learn how to communicate. And see, if your way of resolving conflict is in anger, name calling, whatever it is, you don't know how to peacefully resolve a conflict. You're never going to be able to communicate properly. And that's the key. I always say, I still feel comprehension is more important than communicating. It's like a 1A, 1B. Mm-hmm. If you can communicate all day, if somebody can't comprehend what you're saying because you're causing a conflict in your communicating, if that makes sense, that's going to be a problem. You're not able to resolve your issue. And I think a lot of people miss that boat because they're used to talking at or talking through or down to someone and not talking to them.
Okay.
As a relationship, they're not used to doing that. Our upbringing, if people who grew up and watched their parents argue, fuss, and fight all the time, or never saw conflict resolution. We talked about this last week with the entertainment. You don't see TV shows that have conflict resolution on them.
Oh, yeah,
what you see is programs where people just say, well, you know what? You're not listening to me. I'm going to go find somebody else to sleep with. Yeah. That's the conflict resolution. So if you don't know how to resolve a conflict, you can't communicate. As somebody who, not trying to get in trouble, things that I did in the military, I had to, during a conflict situation, I had to learn how to resolve it without sometimes using full force. And then I had to learn how to resolve that through communicating with a person. I might have had something pointed at me the whole time, but I'm talking and I've never touched my weapon and diffused a situation. Wow. So I use that when we're talking. Sometimes we got to understand, if you don't respect and like your spouse, it's not going to work. It's not. I always take love out the equation. Love doesn't make a relationship. It's nice. It's cute. But you have to like and respect your spouse. That's what makes relationships last today. And a lot of people don't have that. They marry for something that they feel that's love that they saw on Disney, and it's not real. Just being honest about that. But that's what happens. And so my thing is, again, if some people used to conflict. You see a post out there, I'm gonna be as toxic as I can. I ain't backing down. I'm gonna get my word in. I'm gonna be. That's conflict. Yeah. You're not trying to communicate. You're just trying to prove a point. And see, that's the thing. When you come to communicate, even if you feel you're right, you still have to come with an open mind to hear your spouse's side. You still got to come with an open heart to hear what your spouse has to say. But if you come in it where I'm gonna prove my point, no matter what she says, I'm gonna prove my point, it's not gonna work. It's conflict. So you're coming into, you're being conflicted in your resolving of an issue, and all what it took is just a simple moment, calm down, and say, you know what? The way for me to resolve this conflict is to be at peace and have a peaceful conversation, so we can communicate peacefully and hear one another and make it, and then resolve it. But most people come into it wanting to cause a conflict. They're ready to go gangbusters. They're ready to fight. They're ready to throw hands. Not literally, but that's just the mentality of, I'm sick of her. I'm sick of him. I ain't talking about this no more. And they're ready to roll. that's not going to resolve nothing. All that's going to do is add tension. It goes back to like Morpheus said, why go to bed mad? Now you're going to bed mad, because what if I'm open to hearing you and now you come in and attack me in a way that I'm like, oh, I was going to try to let you speak, but you're going to do this? No. So to me, I think it's a major issue. I think it's I think communication and conflict resolutions are why a lot of relationships don't make it, why a lot of marriages don't make it, because there's no respect and likeness there. I don't agree with it being the finances and the cheating thing as the top. I feel like if people were able to communicate and resolve their situations better, a lot of those other things wouldn't fall into play.
Okay, very well. Yeah, I mean, before I come back to my sister Natima, I mean, the whole blowing up thing and everything that you describe, I mean, that's describing communication as aggressive communication, where it's combative and one person feel like they have to win, not realizing that if the other person wins within that combative argument, you both lose. So that's my thoughts behind it. And another thing that you mentioned too, like my wife and I, we don't argue. We have disagreements, we have uncomfortable conversations, but we don't argue. We don't, when I hear people in marriages or in exclusive relationships and they curse at each other and all this other stuff, that's ratchet communication. That's irrational responses, because you're more reactive about the emotions. It's trying to figure out what it is evident to figure out things. That's why in my book, I talk about the 3 C's: communication, comprehension, and compromise. Yeah, lay them out. Simple as that. Yeah. Before we come to you, my sister Natima, let me just pull up another comment, because I'll have you respond, but she also has a question for you guys as well as Carl. So for my sister Vil, I have a question. Aside of just knowing your partner from time invested, how can you make a man feel comfortable communicating if he's not accustomed to doing? Are there any strategies? For example, he might be accustomed to talking at a person within a relationship and not talking to the person. I just like at least one strategy if possible. All right. So first, Natima, I'll let you add on, and then if you or Morpheus can answer that question, that'll be great.
That was actually Morpheus that wanted to add. But
okay, I'll leave her comment up there. Okay.
Yeah, I'll come back to her question. Go ahead.
Gotcha.
Yes. So the only thing that I wanted to add about the communication is that, sometimes, one person might be better than the other at it. You know what I'm saying? Some part, like you said, it's all really, I think it's subjective. I always use subjective and objective the wrong way, but it really just depends on your experience up to that point in your relationship. Some people grew up with more conflict in the home. Other people are more, shy away from that. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more. But, for me, I heard my guy Jay Shetty say this one time, like, that's kind of my strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, we both have to know ourselves enough to know our strengths and our weaknesses in the relationship. And so as a man who that's my strength, and taking the lead and keeping things calm and really just kind of getting through all the clutter and the fluff of all the egoic things that happen in a disagreement, and getting down to and staying focused on, okay, what's the actual problem? How can I, you know what I'm saying? Like, what would you like me to do? Like, what do you need? You know what I mean? And take the ego out of it. Cause a lot of it is just like you said, we get wrapped up in winning the argument. And then over time, if you do that enough, you end up losing the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not about that. It's about always making sure, man or woman, you know what I'm saying, that person feels secure. Men like to feel secure too in their relationship. And we do that through, being respected and being talked to a certain kind of way. But one person, it might be the man or the woman, they might have to take the lead in that most times, and be the one to make the first approach and say, hey, today didn't go well. We blew up on each other. I just want you to know I love you. This is kind of what I understood about what you were saying. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I don't, but at the end of the day, we coming back to love, this and that, whatever. If you don't want to talk right now, I understand, but please let me know when we can talk and we can get this thing figured out. But I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we going to bed like that. We ain't going to bed on some you taking it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Word.
I can't feel like that. We ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna leave Ville's question up there because she just want to know another solution of how to can she make a man feel comfortable communicating if he's not accustomed to doing. Very good answer on Morpheus. I'll come to you, Natima. What advice or answer you have for my sister Ville?
Yeah, that's such a great question because that's something that many of us deal with. You know, people in general, not just men, but people in general are not communicative. They're not very open. One of the things that has worked for me is talk about anything. It doesn't have to be about your feelings or the relationship. Men do like to talk about certain things. You just have to figure out what that is. If it's about sports, it's football season, let him go on and on about sports. Because what he needs to know from you is that you're going to listen, that you're a safe place for him to talk and be himself. And then the next time when you want to talk about something relationship wise or about yourself, he's going to be familiar with that exchange. You have to build that exchange. And sometimes they just need help along the way. So, he loves to read like I do. He loves motivational speakers. And so I'll just ask, tell me about what one of them talked about, whether that's something I'm innately interested in. Not, I just want to hear him talk about it because that makes him comfortable sharing with me. And so now the next time when I want to talk about something, he's already familiar with what our exchange looks like. He's talking, I'm listening. I'm talking, he's listening. He's commenting, shaking his head. So that's how you do that. You give him the space to begin communicating and let him choose the subject. Let it be something that he wants to talk about. So,
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I mean, my wife, that's one of our solution formulas as well. And I'm going to just lay them out acronym, all the 3 R's. So actually 4 R's. So you got the rapport building, right? Then you got the redirect, and then you got the reinforce. So actually 3 R's. So it's like you're building a rapport in a way that he feels comfortable. So that opens the gateway to communicating, and then you're reinforcing that positive conversation. Then you redirect to the solution, goal setting agenda to make the relationship stand out. So very well said. I like that. Any advice you have for Ville for her question, Carl? She said, how can you communicate? How can you make a man feel comfortable communicating if he's not accustomed to doing?
Yeah, I agree with. I mean, Natima was right on point on what she said, but yeah, I mean, find out what he's interested in, and see something like this that really help you out. If it happens to be sports or finances or trade market or whatever it is, do some research on it. The fact that you're able to understand some of the things because you don't want to really have a deer in the headlight stare when he's saying something on top of that, because then he'd be like, she's not really like interested in this thing. And then he's going to shut back down. So showing interest in what he's talking about is a great way to do that. But if he's got a favorite football team or a basketball team, whatever, or he's into, politics, whatever the case may be, figure it out. Reading, particular motivation, whatever it is, find that out. The other thing too, for men, when we do open up and talk, one of the fastest way to shut a man down is to challenge what he's saying. And again, not that it's wrong. I mean, if you ask him a question or ask him to share, listen to learn and don't listen to respond. Because if you're cutting him off and responding or saying, well, I don't agree with that, he's not going to speak to you again. Trust me, he's not going to talk about that subject ever again. That's the fastest way to shut a man down. So, I always tell women, don't ask a question that you're not willing to listen to the response, whether you agree or not. And it goes both parties. I mean, but I know a lot of times it's men we'll shut back down. We won't talk because you're interrupting me, or you're saying, oh, that's not true. No, men don't feel this way. He's just going to be like, wow, well, why ask me a question if you're not going to listen? So, that's the biggest thing. And just being attentive, ask follow-up questions, those things. And then that way, when the time comes and you need to talk to him about something, like Natima said, he knows that he's already kind of been in that flow. He understands the routine, and he's going to roll right with you. He's going to be like, okay. And remember this now. If you're communicating with a man, you want him to communicate, and you're communicating him a problem, just know as men,
He's gonna try to
It's
solve.
our innate feature. We're gonna problem solve.
We are. We're logic.
You know, it's just
All right.
who we are. So let him problem solve. Even if you don't want to take his advice, don't say, I didn't ask you for your advice. Just take it and let it go. And he's going to open up even more to you. Trust me.
Okay. Last thing I just want to add, Vil, my sister, another solution formula. Be feminine when you talk to him. You know, sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Be soft. You know, if the brother, for example, if the brother's coming home and, you know, he hasn't been taking out the trash for, you know, a week or so, don't be like, I'm going to slap your face when you come home. You know, don't be masculine. You know, come home, be like, hey, baby, you know, I was just wondering when you're going to get a chance to get, you know, how you say things makes a huge difference in how you communicate to us brothers. Okay. So that's also very important. And this is what Phil had to say. She said, you two are an awesome couple. Thanks for the advice and insight. She said, goodness, you are awesome. This is great advice. And she said, I love all the responses. Awesome. And we love you too, Vil. You know, thank you for asking that open-ended question. So we're going to take our first and only commercial until we come back to our last topic of the show. This is such an amazing show. We appreciate the large engagement. So this is DBDS Live. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
So many people are calling for police reform. And so because they're calling for police reform, they may not understand that there are many organizations who are already responding.
And I feel like you have to really get to know people, see if they share the same core values as you before you get involved with them.
I want to ask a question as to how we got to this place right here where mask wearing, where COVID-19, where public health is all politicized. I really want you all to think about this. How did we get to this particular point?
It's really a nice balance when femininity and masculinity can mix together and just create this awesome, experience.
Hey, welcome back to DBDS Live. I'm your host, Mel Money. I'm here with my brother Carl, my king, my brother Morpheus. You know, by the way, people, today's his birthday. And my sister Natima. And listen, it's just been nothing but jewels and fire. You know, this is an episode that you definitely will have to retune and we watch again on our YouTube channel. So we're going to continue the conversation. The next subtopic that we're going to touch on how to keep the marriage together is things that keep the flame burning. You have to do things. You have to continue to date your significant other, right? So I'm going to go ahead and size this up here. So my thing is that I believe the key to keep the relationship spicy is to continue to date your partner. And I also believe that it's important to remember that the way you treat your partner when you first met him or her and the way you treated them to fall in love with you, it's the same way that you need to treat them even after being married. It's very important to do, right? The courtship should never end. This is why I tell my brothers, courting should never end. All right. So first, I'm coming to my brother Morpheus. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
He's good at this.
Bring it on, brother.
For me, I just think, keeping the spontaneity, you know what I'm saying, in all aspects of life, especially as the relationship gets more serious and settled down into marriage and all of that. And then, it goes more from like boyfriend and girlfriend to like family. It can become a little bit mundane. You know what I'm saying? And you want to be, again, intentional about that and make sure that you had boundaries set up with the kids and boundaries set up with family members and boundaries set up with work so that you are always prioritizing your time together. You know what I'm saying? And still looking forward to that, whether it's, you might not always be able to go on a vacation. You should, go on vacations, travel together, stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? Just date nights at the house or date nights driving, going to, bowling, whatever you do, go skate, do something different that, things like this, keep we have, similar interests, like common interests that we, build upon. Like I mentioned before, that we read, before we go to bed at night. It gives us an opportunity to continually have the conversation going, because when it comes to men, you know what I'm saying, I can look at my girl and I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm good. With them though, it's different. You know what I'm saying? That their definition of romance is different. Their definition of, you know what I'm saying, spontaneity is different. You have to keep them engaged. She was asking the question about, how to get a man to talk. Sometimes it's just as difficult to, keep your woman interested and engaged, because they go through things and they change and things happen at work. So just to really keep that fire going and let them know that they still desirable, just a little flirty stuff. I always call, my queen on my lunch break, and we'll have a conversation, and she'll ask me, what did you think about this? Or what did you think about that? Something she saw on social media or something going on in the news or whatever. That's our love language together. It's a common interest that we have. We're both talkers. We're both influencers. Mm-hmm. So it might not look exactly the same for the next couple, but whatever your common interest is, don't let that go. Mm-hmm. Once you know what I'm saying, right, become engaged and married and everything like that. Continually put, invested interest, into spending time together doing those things. Mm-hmm. And stay flirtatious. If you used to grab your girl booty in the beginning,
keep doing it.
Grab it. You know what I'm saying? Fine. I don't care if the kids around, whatever. The kids grab booty many a time. Your mama, daddy maybe not so much. If dad around, I gotta slow it down. But I grab the booty from mom.
That's facts. Man, I mean, one thing that you mentioned was just being spontaneous. I love that you mentioned that, because I feel like the relationship tune-ups are needed when it becomes when everyone falls into that everyday routine. So, what I tell my brothers and sisters out there, if you're continuously doing the same thing, just change it up, or if you're the type of person, don't be the type of person just to wait till Valentine's Day to do something for your woman. Okay, my fellas. Yes. Do things just because, I remember before we did this, and I share this with everyone, I did a night picnic with my wife when I first met her. I still do spontaneous things, do things that's different, exciting, You guys read a book every night. That's exciting, sipping wine paint. I mean, it is tons of things to do. Simplicity and creativity is the gateway to doing spontaneous things. So I'm coming to my sister Natima. What are your thoughts? How important it is to keep that flame burning in your relationship?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try to keep this short because I really want to help somebody out. The biggest thing about keeping your relationship spicy, keeping it fresh, is like my husband referred to him, my husband as I call him, is you have to know each other's love languages. That's going to be the first thing. Okay. Because my love languages, he knows, are acts of service and gifts. I love to give gifts. I love to do things for him to make him feel loved. And I had to adjust. And I agree with you that courtship should never end, but I do think there should be some transition or some evolving when you move from dating to courtship to marriage. Yes, the things that you did to attract them, you should continue doing, but they should mature, because now this is your wife, this is your husband. So I'm going to take it a step further, and I'll use the example during COVID. I work from home always. I've always worked from home for the last almost 10 years of my career. But during COVID, we all got comfortable. I wasn't getting as dressed up. I wasn't staying as cute. And he was coming home, hair all over the head, kitchen. I was like, you know what? No, that is a small way to keep your relationship fresh. Make sure he comes home to a beautiful face and smile. I don't have to be ready to take a selfie or ready to step out the house. He deserves to see me at my best. And I know women go, oh, well, he should love you no matter what you look like. That's not true. No. Yeah.
Facts.
I don't want to be seen like that. I want him to see me still looking good and look at me and say, oh my God, I'm still so attracted to my wife. And the same thing, keeping the house clean. He loves to burn sage and incense. So when I know it's like, okay, it's 3:35, he almost home, I run downstairs and light some sage and an incense, because it's what he likes. It's what he likes to come home to. And it's little effort to keep your man happy. I'll put on a sexy dress to go nowhere. just because I know he likes to see me look like that. And again, with COVID, we weren't able to go anywhere. I'm also really big on communication, leaving love notes for him, sending him a text, a flirtatious text throughout the day. He always calls me on my lunch break, and I look forward to it every single day. Sometimes I have meetings and can't answer, so I'll send him a text to let him know I think about him. I love him. You know, he's awesome. Thank you for being a provider. The other day, he cleaned the kitchen. I sent him a text just flirting. I said, oh, wait till you get home for cleaning that kitchen, boy. I'm sure you get in the door. It's little things like that to make him feel just as loved as he does for me. And again, it's knowing your mate. Flowers are great. I know a lot of women love to receive flowers. I'm good on flowers. He comes home with Sour Patch Kids. That's my favorite. You know what I mean? Know your mate, know your spouse, know what they love. Because if flowers work for all the other women, but not your wife, don't waste your money on them.
Right.
Bring her what she likes if you are going to give gifts. And then the last thing I want to say, ladies, something that you can do is, you know, give your man that massage. Don't make him ask for it. Like just now, he was cracking his neck. I said, your neck hurt. And his neck was hurting. So I rubbed it a little bit. And I said, I got you later. It's really about paying attention to him, being attentive, being aware of what he's working on. If I know he's working on something at work, babe, how did that go at work today? Yeah. You'd be surprised how much that turns them on and how much that does for your man, because you're involved, you're engaged, and you give a damn. He want to know he's cared about too. So those are just some of the things that, you know, we do in our relationship that really help to keep it spicy, you know, the flirting and the gift giving, you know, making time for each other. Like the other day, I just got to brag about my king real quick. I was having a rough day at work. I mean, rough. So when he called, I was like, I don't want to talk. It's a bad day. I'm over this job. I work in tech. And so he sent me Panera for the day. Like, I just heard the doorbell and it was a DoorDash. He sent me lunch because he knew I was not going to get to lunch. And that's a priority for him, making sure I eat. So those little things go so far. So, yeah.
Woo. Okay. Man, very well said. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure the audience is definitely paying attention, because these are things that's needed to, you know, when both people come into the relationship, both people should be able to give. You know, it's almost as if you guys are playing a loving match on the tennis court. The ball is going back and forth, you know, and that's how it should be. And that person sitting above the chair watching the match between you two, that's God looking at both of you, you know. So I'm coming to my brother Carl. I mean, how important it is to keep these things burning, you know, to keep it spicy in a relationship.
It's very important. Complacency will end the relationship.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times we get complacent because it's like, I've achieved this goal. I got him, I got her, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, and it can't go that way. We have to continue to do something. I think date nights are very important. I know we all go through the rigors. I mean, especially if you're young, you're starting out, and then you have kids, you know, and you're trying to navigate those different things. You know, if you got a blended family, you're trying to navigate those things. If you're getting a second marriage, there's a lot of different things that come in there, but that's a discussion I think needs to be had when you're dating. You know, how do we maintain this if we get married? You know, when we're together, when we're a couple, you know, how do we do that? Because even during the dating phase, we need to continue to keep that spice and that flame going. We need to continue to court and date. But it's very important. It really, really is. And I think a lot of people miss out on those opportunities. Natima was saying something, you know, she put a sexy dress on just for no reason. You know, I always tell women, you know, women will say it themselves. Watch this. Men are visual. So if you know we're visual, why are you walking around with a hair bonnet?
Word.
I mean, even in public. I'm just asking a question.
No,
you know, with that, if you know we're visual, we have to, and even if we got to keep ourselves up. You know, you can't come into a relationship and just lose yourself. You know, you can't come in and be like, well, this is what I married, and now you go back to, like some people say, well, just accept me the way I am. You know, if you love me, just deal with me. No, this is not what I married.
No, right.
This is not what I got into.
Wow.
So why should I have to accept this? And I think that's a tough conversation. It goes back to communication and conflict resolution. When we have to have that tough conversation, because yes, people change. We all change. We get older, different things we go through. But you know, we got to keep that spice up. We got to keep that flame going. You know, and technology today though I think it makes people lazy sometimes dating, I think when you're a couple, it adds to the intrigue. It just gives you another way to play with each other. The flirtatious texts, and it goes back to the old days where a wife may write a sexy note and put it in her husband's lunchbox before he went out the door, and he goes to get a sandwich and he's reading something, and the fellas are like, "What you reading? What's that?" Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Close the lunch back. I gotta be off on time. I can't be working overtime today. You know?
Right.
But that's what a text message does today, you know, and the fact that we can communicate with each other more because you don't have to worry about somebody being stationary at a phone, you know, she ain't home, I can't call her. You, like you said, if she had to run out or whatever, he knows he can call her on her cell phone and talk, "Hey babe, I miss you, I love you." It only takes 30 seconds. It takes 15 seconds, you know, just, you know, babe, I can't wait till I get home tonight and just kiss you on your lips tonight when I get home. It's so easy, and we make it so difficult because we want it, you know, and then people want it the way they want it. Let the person do it. If they know your love language, let them love you. Be open to it. Let them be engaged with you, and don't sit there. I've heard people say it. You know, "Oh, I don't like that flirtiness. Oh, I don't like you. I don't like my husband talking dirty to me like that. I don't like." And I'm like, "But was he doing that when you were dating?"
Right.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm married now. I don't like, now I'm a wife.
Please.
Okay. Okay. You want to talk dirty to somebody else? No. Come on, I get it right. You know, I can't believe my wife bought that lingerie like that and was walking around. Are you upset that she got that lingerie on, bro? Or do you want her to wear it for somebody else? I'm good. I'm gonna take your butt on home. See, and I think that's what a lot of people miss out on the opportunity. But I think, man, keep the flame burning. This little stuff, man, it don't take much, you know, because you're with that person, you know them. It's just little things. Picnic in the park, you know, meet them at, you know, go to their job, set up a picnic, you know, roll the blanket out, got the picnic bag, real picnic basket, and break it open with the strawberries, chocolate covered strawberries, and you know, you might not be able to do real wine, but you could do a little bubbly or something like that because they working or whatever. I mean, I've done it. I mean, that's just it's just natural. It's just make it happen. You know, it don't make you less of a man or a woman because you're doing those things. And people should stop saying, don't listen to your friends and say, "Oh, you shouldn't have to do that because you already have that." Have them. Because if you turn around and look, they're probably single.
Very, very well true, man. And this is where I feel like it's important to continue to do those things that you first met. But I also feel like there's a combination. You don't want to get into the everyday routine. Can you just imagine playing checkers and doing the same moves for the entire relationship?
Right.
You know, I feel like relationship is a game of, you have to be unpredictable, like chess. And I think, you know, everyone's relationship is different. You know, in our relationship, I'm the spontaneous one. I like to shoot. You may see I'm probably the only black man that goes skiing in Vermont. You know, you may see me doing something like that or something, you know, and my wife, she's more lay low. She'd be like, "Babe, let's go to open mic poetry. Let's go to a little jazz thing." Like, she's complete opposite. I'm kind of, wow, let's go bungee jumping, helicopter ride. Strap, you know, so we're like opposites attract. That's just how we roll, you know. So I am coming, before I come to my brother Morpheus, I have some comments here. Next comment said from one of our followers, "It's the little things that matter. I love a sweet text message." Okay. Next comment, I don't know if this was from what you said, Carl, but she said, "Wow," shaking my head. I don't know, sister, you may have to elaborate what you mean by that, but I'm coming to my brother Morpheus. What else you may want to add, my brother?
I just wanted to add too, because we always talk about these things in relation what a man should do for a woman. And that's kind of like, I want to start breaking that stigma too, because the things that we do for a woman are motivated by what's done for us. So we were bringing you those flowers and doing all that stuff like that because of how you made us feel in the beginning. Otherwise, that stuff wouldn't have never happened. So that shouldn't, you know, like she said, you know, how she on her own, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to look good for my man. I've been kind of, you know, because you would hate to have that conversation, you know what I'm saying? like, you know what I mean? But you, as a man, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, but not enough women, you know, well, a lot of women get into relationships and they get comfortable, and it's not their fault, because us as men, I always have the conversation with my homeboys. We are taught, certain standards, as young men about how to treat women, open the door, give her flowers. What were you taught about what to expect from a woman, especially as a black man? How were you taught to recognize a queen?
Right.
We're not taught that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's certain things, and I got 3 sons, you know what I'm saying? So you best believe, like, I'm going to let them know, like, this is how a woman treats you. It shouldn't be just you doing all the work. There should be some effort on her part too, to be able to romance you, you know what I'm saying? To be able to entice you, to be able to, you know what I'm saying, show you. And one thing that she does, and it's not always sexual, you know what I'm saying? One thing that she does, like, randomly on a Wednesday, my phone will ping, and my love language is words of affirmation. The young lady talked about, how to get a man to talk. That's not my problem. Mine is get me to stop talking. So that's my love language. But my phone will ping, and it'll be this long text message from her about all these intricate different ways of how she appreciates me. You know what I'm saying? All the little things that I've done throughout the week or throughout our relationship, and not like physical things, like tangible things, but just like who I am as a man. And you know what I'm saying? Like how she sees me interact with my sons, and how I interact with my bonus daughter and her, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just showing verbal appreciation for those things, and it motivates me then to, okay, you know what I'm saying? I gotta, you know what I mean? It motivates you to, reciprocate that, but it also makes you feel secure, loved, and like you have a safe place at home as a man. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that makes the whole relationship secure, because I know I'm not gonna go out nowhere else and find that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Woo. And to all my sisters out there, and I love what you stated, Morpheus, because a lot of people, and I think it's the powers that be and this modern society that always tell you, like, happy wife, happy life. Scratch that. It's happy spouse, happy house. Because both have to be happy within that relationship. All right. So listen, we're going to take one more break. When we come back, that's right, it's our Jerry Springer moment. So sit tight. This is DBDS Live. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back to DBDS Live. I'm your host, Mel Money, here with my DBDS brother Carl, and my brother Morpheus, not from the Matrix, but my brother Morpheus, and my sister Natima. And listen, this show has been very, very great. In fact, here's go another comment from one of our DBDS family members. Stated, I really enjoyed these talks today. Gave me a lot of insights and advice. I really appreciate it. All right. Well, we greatly appreciate you. And listen, just tune in every Sunday, my people, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you go to DBDS Live so you can also check out our show in that manner as well. And also, listen, if you don't have time to see us visually, don't worry about it. We're available on Amazon Music, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify. This is like our 99th episode. So we're going to keep it rolling. We're going to keep it showing, just to let you know that there are positive relationships. And just like I stated before, and Morpheus, Carl, and the team know about it. But listen, my people, let's make love and loyalty dope again. Let's make it dope again. The side piece thing that everyone is doing. No, let's make this dope again, so that way we can have healthier relationships, healthier families, and now trickle down to healthier communities. And we'll be a force to be reckoned with, my people. All right. So right now we have our Jerry Springer moment. And the first person I am coming to is my sister Natima. Give the people who's watching your final thoughts for today's show.
Yeah, wow. I don't even know how to wrap this up. It was so much. Relationships work when you want them to work. And so some advice that I have, of course, I'm going to speak to the ladies. I tend to favor the ladies, but work on yourself. I had a number of bad relationships, a failed marriage, and what made this relationship and this union so different is the inner work, the intrinsic work that I did first. Yeah, I got in the gym. Yes, I got my hair together. I wanted to get my body together, but none of that would have attracted a soulmate and a purpose partner until I did that inner work. So make sure that you're working on yourself and that relationship with you is solidified. That relationship with you is solid so that you'll attract the type of man and the covering and the partner that you need. It's important that when you are in a relationship, remember that he has feelings. Remember that he's a person too. It is the strongest thing a man can do is cry. I love that saying, because sometimes we want our man to be this strong person exterior, and then when they reject us or they treat us that way, we are then feeling a certain type of way about it. So make sure that you're respecting him as a person. Listen just as much as you speak. Give him what you want back. Reciprocate the things that he does. And I promise you, it'll last. It won't be perfect, but it will be solid. It will be respectful, and it will be steeped in love, because I like this man. I don't just love him. I like him. And that is because we were intentional in building a partnership and a friendship. So that's my advice, my final word.
Oh, very well said, and greatly appreciate that comment, especially all the jewels you've been dropping. And I love that you're doing so much. You are an inspiration. Keep doing what you're doing, my sister.
Thank you.
I am coming to my brother Morpheus, man, the birthday man, What are your final thoughts for today's show?
My final thoughts are, figure out who you are and stay true to that. You know what I mean? So coming into my, 34th year, you know what I mean? I had my, people call it the Jesus year now, my 33rd, year. And it was exactly what it was. Like the old me died, you know what I mean? So I lost 60 pounds. I relocated twice. I got a new mate, you know what I mean? Did all of that but I did it because I made a decision that I was going to go after the best version of myself, regardless of what people around me thought. You know what I mean? And so that's how I got into the relationship. That's how I got, I came down here and got the best job I've ever had. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things. I'm living in a bigger house that I've ever lived in. You know what I mean? But it all started with me and looking myself in the mirror where I was at, and especially the weight thing. I was 290 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Looking myself in the mirror where I'm at and saying, this is where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, I got here. How did I get here? And where do I want to go? You know what I mean? And really just looking that in the eye and doing that. And a lot of people, they go through and we focus on life. We go through life focusing on our relationships because people want that bad. But your relationships, intimate and otherwise, sometimes it's just friend relationships or whatever, are really just a reflection of where you are at that time and point in your life when it comes to your mental space and the health of your spirit. So if you want to know, you know what I mean, where you are, take a look at the people around you. They're around you for a reason, because there's a piece of you that's reflected in them. So take that, be accountable to yourself for it. And if you want to change it, then change it.
That's good.
Man, very powerful, man. Very well said. That is true. I mean, every relationship is a reflection of you. Everything is correlated with one another. Very well said. And I'm coming to my DBDS brother Carl. Man, what a phenomenal show. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
Yeah, absolutely. Another outstanding show, bro. The team of Morpheus, awesome job today. Loved you guys' comment. Learned a lot, even too. So some things for myself. The biggest thing for me is, and I know as we're talking marriage, I'll say this: don't listen to the naysayers when it comes to marriage and having strong unions.
Word.
That's the way to go. This whole poly cheating side chick stuff, it's just an excuse for people to not want to be committed. It's just an excuse for people not wanting to do the work. It's an excuse for people just to be selfish. I'm just gonna have to keep it real. I mean, there's somebody out there for us, and I agree, what Morpheus saying. Do the work. I always say, do the work while you're single.
Yeah.
You know what you're asking for, you gotta become. You have to be that, or you'll never attract it to yourself. You'll attract the things that you don't want. But trust me, marriage is awesome. It's phenomenal. And it's worth, I don't think anybody wants to die alone. I don't think anybody wants to grow old alone.
Preach.
So, is we're talking, like I said, again, we're talking marriage. I don't listen to the naysayers that say, I don't want to get married. I don't, that is literally a first disqualification when I talk to a young lady. If she says, well, I'm never getting married again, then there's no even need for us to meet at Starbucks, continue the conversation, move forward. I'm done. It's over with, because that's my intention. So I'm dating intentionally to do that. So to get married. So again, awesome show. I just tell people just, be around like-minded people. If you want to get married, find like-minded people that want to get married, because those that don't want to, those are the ones that just don't feel like they can ever be faithful. Those are the ones that don't want to do the work. Those are the ones that want a wedding but not a marriage. And those are the people, as Morpheus said, you don't want to be around, because they're a reflection of you. So if they're saying that, you need to take a look at yourself and realize why you're even dealing with these type of people.
Very well said. And these are scientific studies done on that. It's called the peer group effect. The people that you have around your circle, subconsciously, you tend to steer in that direction. That's where the old saying comes, where birds of a feather flock together. Because the more you're around that, you tend to win over. Your mind frame tends to win over that. So the people I keep around myself, such as you, Carl, and other people, they have to either be in the same mind frame or even higher than you, so that we can learn off of them. Before I give my final thoughts, Carl, I have your mother again. We have to do a mother and son show, by the way. She stated, you want your marriage to work? Before you get married, ask yourself, what do I want out of the marriage and a partner? Make sure you know what you want and then talk with him. Be honest and open. Your marriage will work. Remember, keep God present always. All right. I'll take 2 more comments before I come with my final thoughts. It says, I love you guys. Took the time out to help people with your relationship, especially some of us who really need it. We really appreciate it. Blessings to you all. Hey, my sister, that's what DBDS is all about. And we're going to continue to have positive people on our show to give you that inspiration. Next one from my sister Ville to Morpheus. Happy birthday. Thanks to you all. Okay. Appreciate that. So my final thoughts. First off, thank you, DBDS family. You guys stayed with us over an hour in the show, so we appreciate that. But I just want to state that you guys been a phenomenal cast. Thank you, and we're gonna have to do a part 2 to this episode. Yes, but my final thoughts is a topic like this must be talked about, because we live in an era that is praised to be single for the rest of your life, and we have to change our mindset. Also, we have to understand the meaning of a healthy marriage, because listen, it's more than a piece of paper. Marriage is definitely more than a business proposition. Marriage, in my book, is a 3-way covenant between man, woman, and God. Right. So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel, and much love to the DBDS family.
Take it away, Mel.